Hello everyone and welcome back to this video where we will explore the concept of Webhook and how you can use them in make.com to automate workflow. If you are new to automation tools or have heard about the webhooks but never fully understood how they work, this video is for you. In this video we will cover everything you need to know about webhooks, starting from the basics and what webhooks are and how they functions and what they are useful. We will then explore how webhooks work in real-time automations, how they differ from API calls, and what they can be applied in practical use cases. So we will also take a look at example of webhook automation in make.com, helping you understand how it can integrate with different tabs to enhance workflow efficiency. And at last, we will show you the practical implementation where I will show you how to create a webhook module in make.com, receive data in webhooks, and automatically store the data in Google Sheet. So by the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of webhook and how to use them to automate tasks effortlessly. So let's begin with the fundamental questions. What are the webhooks? In a simple term, webhooks are the automated message or notification that one system sends to another in real time when a specific event occurs. They can act event driven triggers, meaning they instantly push data to a specific URL whenever something happens. So this is different from traditional method where system constantly check for updates. So to understand this, things of a webhook as a alert system. So instead of checking an app repeatedly to see if there are new message, the app can send you notifications. When a new message arrives, webhooks works in a similar way. They eliminate the need for continuous manual checking by sending data automatically as soon as the event occurs. For instance, if you run an e-commerce store, you don't need to manually check every few minutes whether a new order has been placed. Instead, a webhook can instantly notify your inventory system when a purchase is made, allowing you to update stock level automatically. So this real-time data transfer makes Webhook a powerful tool for automation and integration between different applications. So to give you more concrete example, let's consider a scenario where you use a type form to collect feedback from your customer. Each time a new response is submitted, a webhook can be triggered automatically and sending the data to make.com for further processing. So this eliminates the need for you to manually export and import form responses. So instead make.com capture the form submission in real time and processes it according to your predefined workflow. So this kind of automation is incredibly useful because it allows businesses to streamline processes and eliminate manual work. Webhooks are widely used in various industries including customer support, e-commerce, payment processing, and CRM systems. So whether it's sending automated email notifications, updating a database, or triggering workflow in make.com, webhooks play a crucial role in connecting applications seamlessly. Now that you understand what webhooks are, let's take a look at how they actually work. A webhook based process typically follows a three-step sequence. First, an event occurs in the source application. So this could be action like a new order, a phone submission, or a payment received. As soon as this happens, the application that registers the webhook gets notified. Next, the application sends a post request to the webhook URL with all the relevant data. So this URL belongs to the receiving system, which cloud beammake.com or any other platform where you want to process the data. And finally, once the data reaches the webhook URL, the receive system captures and processes it based on the predefined workflow. Unlike the APIs, which require frequently requests to check for a new data, Webhooks work on a push mechanism. This means data is automatically sent only when an event occurs, making the system more efficiently and reducing unnecessary network requests. Webhooks are particularly useful in real-time applications where immediate updates are required, such as live notifications, order tracking, or a database synchronization. To see webhooks in actions, let's go through practical use cases where webhooks help in automating customer support ticket creation. Imagine a business that receives a customer support request through a Google form. Every time a customer submit a request, and the form triggers a webhook that send the data to make.com. Make.com then extract the important details such as the customer names, emails, and the issue description and automatically creates a support ticket in Zendex, a popular customer service platform. Once the ticket is created, the system then sends automated acknowledgement email to the customer and letting them know that their request has been received and will be processed soon. So this entire workflow happens without any manual interventions, ensuring a faster and more efficient customer support process. So this is just one example of how webhooks can be used to automate tasks and improve business operations. By implementing webhooks, business can be eliminate repetitive works, improve response time, and ensuring that critical actions are performed instantly without human involvement. Now, what is the difference between webhooks and the API calls? Well, both methods enable communications between different systems. They functions in very different ways. Webhooks operate on a real-time push mechanism, meaning they send data to receiving system as soon as event happens. This makes webhooks ideal for tasks that require instant automation. On the other hand, API calls work on a pull mechanism, where the receiving system must send requests at regular interval to check for new data. So this method is better suited for schedule or on-demand data retrieval, but it is not as efficient for real-time updates. To put it simply, webhooks are likely a delivery person who knocks on your door when your package arrives, whereas API calls are like checking your mailbox every few hours to see if there any new email. Both have their uses, but for real-time automations, webhooks are the preferred choice. Now we learn about webhooks, how they work, and why they are important for real-time automations. Now we will move to the practical implementations where I will show you how to create a webhook module in make.com, receive data in webhooks, and automatically store that data in Google Sheets. So in this demonstration, we will start by saving a single row of data in Google Sheets using webhooks. After that, I will show you how to handle multiple rows of data by adding an iterator module. So this will allow us to process multiple data entries dynamically. And by the end of these sessions, you will have a clear understanding of how to set up webhooks, receive data, and automated data storage in Google Sheets using make.com. So let's get started. Now I am on the make.com dashboards and I will start by creating a new scenario. To do this, I click on the create scenario button. This will open an empty workflow where we can add modules. The first thing I will do in the rename this scenario to make it more meaningful. So I will call it Webhook integration demo. Underscore 1 to reflect what we are doing in this automation. Let me quickly explain the two main modules we will be working with. The first module in the Webhooks module, which will receive incoming data from an external sources, and the second module is Google Sheet, which we will store the received data automatically. Initially, we will store a single row of data, and later I will show you how to handle multiple rows dynamically using a iterator module. So now let's add the first module. I click on the plus button in the scenario editor and search for Webhooks. Once I find it, I select custom Webhook since we want to set up a custom Webhooks for receiving data. As soon as this module is added, a new box appears where I need to create a webhook. I click on the add button to create a new webhook. Now I enter the name of this webhook, Webhook Integration Demo. Underscore 1 and then click on save. Once saved, another box appears with an option to copy the webhook URL. I click on the copy address to clipboard button and to copy the webhook URL. This URL is important because it acts as the endpoints where external application will send data. Now we need to test if this webhooks can receive data correctly. To test this webhook, I will use a tool called rekbean.com. Rekbean is an online API testing tools that allow us to send HTTP request, including a post request with JSON data. This helps us verify if our webhook can capture data properly. So now I open rekbean.com in my browser. Here in the address bar, I paste the webhook URL that I copied from the make.com. And by default, the request type is GET. But since we want to send data, I change it to POST. Next, I click on the body section and select JSON format. Now I will enter some sample data in JSON format. So this JSON object contains three fields: student name, roll number, and the gender. Now I go back to make.com where our webhook is set up. And to check if our webhook is working, I right click on the webhook module and select run this module only. This allows the module to wait for incoming data. Now I return to rekbean.com and click on the send button. The request is sent, and when I go back to make.com, I can see that a new box has appeared. This box contains the data that we just sent, confirming that our webhook is successfully received data. Now that our webhook is receiving data, the next step is to store this data in a Google Sheet. To do this, we need to add a Google Sheet module. I click on the plus button again, search for Google Sheet and select add row. This module allows us to add a new rows of data to a spreadsheet. Once added, a configurations box appears. In this configuration box, I keep the search method as it is because it will help us find the correct spreadsheet dynamically. And the drive option is also left unchanged as I am using a Google Drive. Next, I select the spreadsheet where I want to store the data. In my case, the spreadsheet name students information, which I had already created earlier. If your spreadsheet inside a different folder, make sure to select correct folder first. Now I scroll down to the value section. The first column A represents the student name. So I map it to the student name field received from the playbook. And the second column B represent the roll number, so I map it to roll number. And finally the third column C represent the gender, so I map it to gender. After mapping all fields correctly, I click on the save button. Now I run the entire scenario. I go back to redbin.com, click on send and return to Google Sheet. As you can see, the data has been successfully added to the sheet. Now let's say we need to store multiple students' records at once. So for this, we need to use the iterator module. First, I go back to make.com and remove the direct connection between the Webhooks and the Google Sheet. Then I click on plus button and add a iterator module. The iterator module is used to split an array of data into individual items, allowing us to process multiple entries one by one. So to set it up, I first run only the Webhook module to receive new sample data. Go to regbin.com and modify the JSON data to include multiple student records. Now I click on send button. Back in make.com, I can see that the Webhook has received multiple reports. Now I click on the iterator module, select student and save the configuration. Next, I reconnect iterator to Google Sheets. Inside the Google Sheet module, I change the mapping for column A, B and C to use values for the iterator. Now instead of inserting only one row, the system will process each student record separately. And finally, I click on run once. Go back to Regbin and send the data again. Now in Google Sheet, you can see multiple rows have been added successfully. So that's it for today. In this video, we explored a Webhook in details, starting with their definitions and the understanding how they work. We also looked at a practical example of how Webhooks automated customer support ticket creation in make.com. We compared Webhooks with API calls to understand their differences. We also covered everything from creating a Webhooks, receiving data, and storing it in Google Sheets to handle multiple rows using the iterator modules. So Webhook are a powerful tool in automations, and using them with Mint.com allows seamlessly data integration between different platforms. So I hope this tutorial was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you in the next tutorial.